G'day and welcome everyone to the show. I'm Mark, your host of Mark's Shed Talk, and tonight we're going to talk about valve casting, a new valve casting for the steamroller, and we'll look at that up close and personal very shortly. But in the meantime, I'd just like to give a little bit of a shout out to the supporters of the show, the regulars here, and that's Stylesy. G'day, mate. Fucking hungry. Some bloke called Mark Shed Talk, don't know who he is. Cody's here. Emma's here. Emma's feeling a bit crook. So is my wife, actually. Bit run down. And I hope that they both get well soon. And if you're feeling a bit under the weather, just take it easy. Take a bit of time for yourself, that's for sure. Moving right along, coming up in August, we'll run our little ad for the National Rally coming up. I should know it. I'm part of it. You'll see a few things on there. It's a great event that's going to be coming up at the Farm Fest site in Toowoomba. I'll just run the little commercial to show you where it is, when it's on, all that sort of stuff. So here we go.
Steaming under the Southern Cross is back and bigger than ever. Australia's largest display of working heritage machinery, steam engines, vintage tractors.
There you go. It should be a great event and a really big one too. Probably the biggest that's been organised in a long time. Oh, Cody, love it, man, love it. My sister, g'day, Kerry. Thanks for being here. I think Mum and Dad are watching on the big screen on the TV at home. So g'day to everyone else who's just joining in. Appreciate you being here. Now, just recently, well, actually for a while now, most of you know that I've been working on the steamroller, and let's get a photo up and show you exactly what we're talking about. There we go. That's the steamroller in particular. Most of you are familiar with it. We've been doing this now for just over 7 years. I've had a lot of help. We are doing a lot of the work ourselves. However, there's some work we've had to get done, like a contractor. And there's other bits that I've had done or made. For instance, I'll just bring myself back up on screen here. There we go. Things like, that's it. This is one of the cylinder drains, one of 4. These were cast at the Trades Guild, North Pine Trades Guild. Thanks to them for casting them. Off a pattern. This is a rough casting and it needs a bit of cleanup. So I had some of these made, and put that back down there. They're one of the last things that'll go on the engine, and it'll just finish the engine off. Now I made it, oh, excuse me, sorry again. Sorry about that, folks. I got 8 or 9 of those made in total, and the engine requires only 4. However, there's a gentleman down in Melbourne who's got the same engine as this one. In fact, he's got number 16933. Right, so this engine is 16930, the builder's number, and made by John Fowler and Company. And since getting in contact with me many years ago, he and I have worked together to help each other out to get our mutual steamrollers back together. Now, he's missing one very important part, and that's the front rolls that you can see on screen here at the moment. And he's having to find an alternative from another steamroller. However, they're the same size, but obviously the original ones would be ideal. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to track those down. When he got his steamroller, it was in basically like a Meccano set, or a Lego set. It was sort of almost 1,000 pieces. And since then, he's done a fantastic job putting his back together, making it look great, doing a lot of work. Something I'm very envious of. He's certainly been able to accomplish a lot more than I have in the time that I've been going. However, in the meantime, you know, we've put up this big shed. We've done renovations at home, and I didn't do anything to the roller for that period of time. It was about at least 3 months that we didn't do anything because everything was packed away while stuff was being made. And then in the mix, I broke my ankle, so I had about four months off there, 3.5 months off work, all that sort of stuff. So these little setbacks have, you know, have put us back a bit, you know, roughly timeline, and also other life challenges get in the way. So sometimes you can't always spend all the time in the world to work on your hobby. However, I'm fortunate enough I do get to spend a lot of time working on my hobby. However, getting back to what we're talking about tonight, there are many parts that were missing off the steamroller when we got it. And as you can see in the picture here, one of them is the drive gears. And once again, this is where young guy Dan in Melbourne came to the rescue, because when he got his engine, he started going through the bits, and we started communicating through social media and asking for advice on bits and pieces and where things go. And it just happened he sent one photo, and here were the gears that made this engine go. And he had 2 sets, one for his and one for this one. And we identified that these were the ones for this engine because of the paint color, and that they don't fit any other engine. So since that initial conversation, there has been a lot of items that were missing off this steamroller have come back to it, and it's just been an absolute benefit for me to get all these items back, especially the original builder's plate. Never in my life I thought that some of this stuff that was missing would ever come back, but you know, here we are today talking about how this stuff has come back. So it's absolutely unreal. There are a few things I've had to get made, as mentioned, the cylinder drains, small castings there. We got a new chimney base cast, that sort of thing. There's other bits and pieces. A lot of there's going to be a lot of fabrication work. The tender, which is the piece at the back here, requires a fair bit of work, and requires fabricating out of new steel plate, which is not difficult to do. It just, once again, it's just time consuming. All this is a relatively time thing. So moving on to our new bit, I'll just also show on screen, I've showed this before, but it's worthwhile talking about again. This is where the roller would have been put together. This is a photo of the erecting shop, the John Fowler and Company works, and it was a massive place, and this is one of the places where all the engines got put together. And as you can see, there's an absolute an array of steam traction engines, steamrollers, and ploughing engines getting assembled, ready to go out to customers. This photo is approximately 1920, and it just goes to show you what was achieved way back then. Not so much of the modern day production lines as we see them now, or what Henry Ford perfected with building the Model T Ford, but an assembly line none other. Right, I'll just grab a drink of water. I'll just take a sip. Cheers, Cody. Thanks for the comment about the blue text on the screen there. I think I might have seen it on one of your streams, actually, one of the colours you had. It's quite interesting. Anyway, it's quite an easy change, that's for sure. Right, moving right along. So we'll go over to our, this is what we're going to be looking at tonight. show this on stream. So this particular valve body bolts onto the back of the water pump, and it's sort of over-designed for what it does, to tell you the truth. And basically all it is a glorified tap that either directs water from the pump into the boiler, or it feeds it, or it recirculates it back into the tender. A pretty sort of complex design just for doing something like that. Now, could there been another arrangement made? Yeah, they could have actually. We could have arranged some sort of tap with, three-way tap or something like that, but it just wouldn't look right. So essentially, they designed this. Now, those of you, if you ever watch Emma's Spare Room Machine Shop, Emma's in the chat tonight, and she was working on hers recently, replacing the valves that go inside the body here. And we'll show a different photo here. This is a different view. This particular one's off the steamroller up in Rockhampton Historical Village. It's still in place. Basically what you see here, everything is identical to what goes on this one, except it's missing the pipe work and the pieces that go in the top, the valves that go in there, and also the bits that screw in the top. So there's a fair bit of work left to do on the one that we've got. So to give you an idea on just how this is set up, this is a very, very dense drawing. Now, this is not the particular drawing for this engine, but it's virtually identical. And we can see how sort of detailed this drawing is. It's absolutely incredible. In fact, there's probably too much information going on here. I should probably take some lessons off Emma, who does usually does a live stream on a Tuesday night with oh, hang on. Oh, sorry about that, folks. Just had to have a sneeze. Lucky I got to the button in time. This is very, very detailed, as you can see, and it's almost like a hive of activity going on, and there's just too much information. It's too crowded. It'd be ideal to redraw this in CAD. It's be a good learning curve, that's for sure. There's a free program you can download if you want to get into CAD, and that's called Onshape. And as I mentioned before, Emma, who's in the chat, does a live stream usually on a Tuesday night, and you can collaborate with her and actually learn how to draw. It's great. It's something I really should do. But anyway, we're going to use this drawing as a guide to make up the missing parts. Also, I'll be looking at others that are around, like on Gary Olsen's engine, on Bill's engine, and so on. And also, talking to Emma once again, because she's already been through this process. So you've seen all the bits and pieces and all that sort of stuff. So let's flick over here. And we'll go over to the bench, and hopefully I'm coming through all right. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Righto, let's get this. So these are all the bits and pieces that Dan from Melbourne sent up. We've got a couple of nice, let's get that right. Let me get that right. Sorry about that. This is a casting to indicate the water line. It gets mounts on the engine and shows you where the ideal water line is. We've got two of those, so one on each engine, one spare. Dan's said he's got a couple, so Thanks to Dan for setting those up. And these, almost lost my glasses. We'll put them down there. These things here, let me get this right. There we go. Here we go. They hold the motion covers on. Nice little brass pieces. They're a little bit long. The ones that Dan made, he shortened his up a little bit, probably 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch or something's got to come off. The motion covers is something I haven't looked at yet. That's probably, once again, one of the last things that is going to get done. But the other thing is, right, so this is the main valve body. Now this, out of all the things I've done for the roller, this is probably the most expensive part so far. Dan went to a lot of effort to get a pattern made, beautiful pattern made, and then get the castings done, all the running around and all that sort of thing. So kudos to Dan for getting that done. And this is it. This will, once it's put on, it'll look fantastic. It's a really nice casting, very smooth, and we have to have like threads machined in the top here. This face here needs to be cleaned up. It's a bit. If we get a rule, not sure if you can make that out. Probably not. It's not quite square. Little bit of sort of oval at the moment, but this is straight out of the. It's been cast and it comes out, and all the sand and other bits and pieces come out. So, but that's typical of a casting. When you get something cast, it's always oversized. There's plenty of meat to take off. This face here, this flange, it bolts onto the actual water pump. So this will need to be faced, and there'll need to be 3 holes drilled in here. They're just a straight drill hole. So it'll be a case of find a spot to. We'll have to start somewhere by taking some detailed measurements, of course, and when it goes on the milling machine, surfaces need to be machined flat, because there's a flange that bolts onto here, and this is where the water either returns to the tender or gets forced into the boiler. And we'll have to double check on the sizes of these holes. They may have to be opened out just to allow better water flow, all that sort of stuff. And this here's got to have a little nut in it, and tapped and all that sort of thing. So there's a fair bit of work, quite a few setups in terms of machining. So it's going to be one of those things. Where do you start? What do you do? All that sort of stuff. So yeah, quite a bit of work in this, but just another part to the puzzle, and it's absolutely fantastic that this has come now. It's going to give us time to work on it, all that sort of thing. The other thing that I'll just step away for a minute. Oh yeah, hello, shed dogs. Hello. Oh, okay, all right. You're right. Hang on. Sorry, folks. I'll just be a second. Right. Okay, I'm sorry about that interruption, folks. Let's get myself back on screen here for a second. Righto. So Mrs. Shed Dog, just Mrs. Shed Talk, sorry, Mrs. Shed Dog, Mrs. Shed Talk, just was woken up by the dogs, and they dragged her down here. So I had to just attend to the dogs and and just sort that out. The Shed Dogs, come here, Shed Dogs, come here. Let's see if the Shed Dogs want to make an appearance. Yeah, Cody, you're right. Mark's bench talk. If only that bench could talk. Oh, I haven't done bugger all work. Lately, the round table, no, it's the rectangle bench, I think, Funk and Hungry. Hey, come here, come on. Shed Dogs, come here. Come here. Come on, here they are. Oh, look out. Oh, yeah, they're full of beans. Full of beans. Obviously, the other dogs have been, they were sound asleep upstairs, and they woke up Mrs. Shed Talk, unfortunately. So she came down all a bit blurry-eyed, obviously, and not feeling the best. So there we are. There we have it. All right, so let's go back to the bench. Go back to the bench talk. Oh, here we go. Don't need that. There we go. There's the glasses. Oh, I don't. Actually, before we do that, let's, right, yep, we've got that ready to go. Let's have a look at the old share of the old screen here. Nope. All right, you want to play? One day I might get this right. It'll be a professional setup. Righto, on the screen there is the oilers, the lubricators. Now they're tiny lubricators for the eccentrics, and I will just go get the eccentrics and show you what we're referring to. Go into my cupboard here of bits and pieces. Hopefully I got yep, that's it. Righto. Show everyone a demonstration. G'day to, and I better get some glasses on too. Told you one day I'll make this a professional stream one day. I'll be really well organised. In fact, we'll be doing streams when it's going back together, hopefully in a few months' time. Still lots of work to do. Lubricators. Oh, yes, lubricators. Well, Peter's not here, so he's not making any funny comments at the moment. Right, so as mentioned, they're the lubricators for the eccentrics. Now, the eccentrics look like this. In fact, let's get myself back up on screen here. This is one of the eccentrics. Righto, there we go. And they're called an eccentric because they sort of go around like that. Now, on top of these, you can see, let's put half down so I'm not struggling. As you can see, we've got a thread in the top here, and one of those little lubricators that we had on screen before, can I do that? There we go. One of those things screws into there. Now, yeah. Emma, yours don't, well, okay, what do yours have? Well, once again, I was lucky enough to, for young Dan down in Melbourne to send up some spare bits that he had left over. So thanks to him, so we've got these, we've got the balls. Anybody who wants some silver balls for your lubricators, and the springs as well. Oh, there you go. Don't play with springs, they spring everywhere. Funny that. can't see what I'm doing with my glasses on or off. So the springs obviously need to be cut down. I need to make the lubricators. They're obviously a pretty simple little thing. A little bit of research. I'll be looking at Emma's, or I'll be looking at other examples. Excuse me again. So all in all, this came Tuesday. Tuesday, all this stuff came, and there's our thing that does all the work. It's got to be machined on a slight taper, and that'll sit down there. That'll go in there like so. Let's get a better angle than that. And this is what controls the flow of water. Let's go there. Actually, no, let's go there. That's better. So that'll be inside there like so. And this will be, depending on if it's like that, water will be going in or it'll be going out or whatever which way it goes. I'm sure Emma's probably going to correct me and tell me which way it's going to go. But yeah, that's another big step in the piece of the puzzle, piece of the pie, whatever you want to call it. Still lots of work to do. And this is just basically a big jigsaw puzzle. The closer we get, the more bits and pieces we get together. Right, let's get me back on screen. It's all about me. It is. Little brass cones, right, okay. Right, had a cup of tea before, Kerry. So quite possibly, now, I've always wondered about this. That red paint there, let's get a good look at that. That red paint there, it quite possibly could be original. I'm not sure. The eccentrics, some parts were painted red. It's pretty well ingrained in various places. I have cleaned it up. You can still see quite where there are red spots. I've just basically wire brushed these because these are cast iron, and cast iron really doesn't rust, and you can even still see the machine marks. So if I get the right angle, you can see the lathe tool marks. Now this was done 100 years ago, and because of its location where it was, it's bunched together with quite a few others, and there was always oil on this. It was pretty well protected. So it's pretty amazing that you can still see signs of machining from 100 years ago. That's pretty amazing. Well, same with this part here, and you can see that the studs have got little pins locking them in to make sure they don't go anywhere. And the other thing is with this, and more example of that red paint. The other thing I found with this roller is over here, and everything's numbered. All the bits and pieces, all the different parts, they're just all numbered, and there's no way that you can go wrong with putting this thing back together. I mean, you could be with everything, like everything's numbered, and they must have done that from the factory, which is pretty amazing actually. I'll get some other examples of bits and pieces while I think about it. Something to right, yes, here we are, right in front of our eyes, over here in the cupboard of surprises. Here we are back again. And the other thing, once I talk about this a bit more, so this is one of the eccentric rods that connect. Not sure whether, yeah, Mum just put a comment. She texts me on the phone, just join up the dots. Well, pretty well, that's about it. Once again, as you can see, we're getting close here. More numbers, more letters and numbers. It's just fantastic. It's surprising what we've found when pulling this thing apart and putting it back together. It never ceases to amaze me. This probably needs another polish up. These were all badly surface rushed. Colonel, g'day, mate. How are you? Thanks for being here. Thanks for dropping in. Once again, all this stuff, all this steel is 100 years old. And considering it spent all its life out in the weather, it's amazing that it's still around today. Some parts have, suffered more, but generally speaking, these just all had surface rust on them, maybe a bit of paint. And when I initially cleaned them up, they didn't really take that long to get cleaned up and be in this condition. And if I spend a bit of time on the linisher over there, I could probably put a bit more of a polish on it. In fact, let's try that now in the next few minutes. The other thing we've done here in the shed, or I've done in the shed, is, now, first of all, I hope everyone can hear me all right. No one's complaining. Hopefully it's not too loud or anything like that. You may notice that the shed's looking a bit brighter. I've added in some additional lighting, and let's go back over to the old bench, and we'll swing around. Even the bench is a lot brighter. For some, it may be too bright, but when you're working on a part that's covered in crap and dark and all that sort of stuff, it's probably, thanks Cody, appreciate the heads up, mate. The bit more brightness is going to help with a lot of things actually. And we'll just give you an idea. I'll just bear with me here, and we're going to move the camera. So what I've gone ahead and done up here is a floodlight. Now I've brought 3 of these. They're 100 watts. Brought them off Facebook Marketplace. There's a guy up the road here that sells them. I've brought a few, brought a bit of stuff off him. There's the usual, now we're gonna, if anyone suffers from motion sickness, just bear with me. And it's gonna look a bit funny here. But they're the high bay lights there. Now I've got, we've got 6 of those. However, they light up the shed pretty well, but it's the corners that lack a bit of brightness. Oh, there's me. Let's just straighten this up. That's a bit better. I should have done that before. So I've put in 3 of these big floodlights now to give me more light over on the lathe, over where the boiler is. You can see actually I can demonstrate the difference. You can see how it's bouncing off the what's the name. Now, even though that still looks pretty good, when you're working over there in the corner, it's a bit dark. So just adding another floodlight, it really does make a difference. So I've got a light above me here, and I've put the other 3rd light just up to my right, up above me on the bench here. Like I said, it may seem a bit bright, but actually it's lit up the corners, and it's absolutely brilliant. The other thing that I've gained from putting the big light up here is over on the milling machine here. I now have what used to be a small floodlight that was over the lathe is now here on the milling machine, which makes a huge difference. You can see that, for instance, we've got a light here, but it's an old halogen type light, so it's more of a yellowy color. It shows light, it's better than nothing. Some people have put like a ring light underneath here on the part of the machine they call the quill. I probably should face this way, face the camera. However, what I've done is I've grabbed, I'm back over here again. I had some magnets laying around, and on this bracket here, I put the magnets on, and that makes this light so much more versatile. I can put it wherever I need to. I don't just have to have it on the milling machine, but the difference it makes on the milling machine is absolutely incredible. And I tell you what, I'll just zoom in here, give you an idea. Here we go. Oh, 3 times zooms. So you can see that. Hello, shed dog. What are you doing? What's your nose running for? What are you eating? You eating clay again. So shed dog too likes to eat clay. Anyway, that's another story. To give you an idea, light. So that's off. So that's no light at all. That's the old one. You can see that it does throw a bit of light, but nothing compared to the modern day LED. And even though it looks a bit washed out on camera, it's absolutely brilliant when I'm working on the milling machine here on the vise. Let's go back a bit. Yeah. There we go. So I've got an app that controls the zoom, and so working on the mill in this situation, it's just absolutely fantastic to just have lots of light, and if need be, for whatever reason, if there's the workpiece interferes with the light, I can always get it and put it in a different position, being on the with the magnets and so on. So the additional lights have made an absolutely huge difference to how I film things in here, and just more light on the situation. Part of this journey, I'm been researching on best ways to improve different things, and number one is the sound, good audio. If you don't have good audio, people are going to switch off and go somewhere else. Obviously, in this day and age, most people are just doom scrolling, and they come and look at your stuff for 10, 15 seconds at the most, and then they move on. Most people don't hang around for too much. The other thing is good lighting. It's lighting. If you sound lighting and then sort of video quality. Lighting, if people can't see what you're doing, there's no point. I can turn, for instance, I'll turn everything off just to give you an idea on how dark this place gets, just as an example. Right, let me shut down a few more lights. And let's turn that light off. Right, so there you go. That's how dark this place is when I'm not actually doing anything. This is what it looks like. The only light you're seeing now is computer screens, and you can see the absolute difference that it makes when we light this place up, and it's just amazing. So I'll start with the main lights first. The six main lights. I'm going to make a separate video about this. So that's just the high bay lights with one floodlight up above. There's the bigger ones over the lathe. I've got this one here. I've actually got another 2 floodlights here, which I'll turn on. They probably really don't make that much difference, but you get the picture. And then lastly, I'll turn, this is the new one over the bench. And then the 2 over and there you go. That's it. That's the difference. It's just incredible, and just makes it a better place to work, that's for sure. Now let's throw a polishing belt on the linisher. Now, unfortunately, there it is. Sorry. Unfortunately, my back's going to be to the camera, and I will be bringing in additional. It's going to be a while. I'm going to get another. So changing the linishing belt, you just undo it. I have showed these before. These are the polishing cloths. They're pretty awesome, actually. Just goes on there, and we release the tension back off. Now I won't do a lot of this. I'll just do it quickly and show you the back side, and you'll see my back side. So we're just going to polish this here. That's going to be the easiest one to do. And unfortunately, once again, I'm sorry, but actually, let's change views. There we go. Let's go here. And you'll see me from the side. It's probably not the best, but anyway, it'll see how we sound. Right, you get the idea. So you can see in a very short period of time, no, you're right, Colonel, can't complain about great lighting. Right, so that's that side, that's sort of semi-polished. It's been sitting in the cupboard for a while, and that's what I just did now. You can see the difference. I only spent a short amount of time on it, and that's one of those polishing cloths that goes on the linisher. There are other options, other polishing options. This is just one, and they're cheap. They last a while, and there's various grades of them. I think that one I got on there is fine. Is a fine one. And there's a couple of different colours. There's a purple one, and then there's this one here, like a grey colour. I think this is the most aggressive, or this one's the most aggressive, and sort of, you know, coarse, medium, fine sort of thing. But it's pretty amazing what these things can do. And even then, just polishing this, there were sparks coming off it, which I was a little bit surprised at, actually, to tell you the truth. But that just goes to show you that you can really get a shine on these things. If I spent a bit more time on, probably get some wet and dry and some oil and so on, I could really get this shining really nice. Once again, you can see how the metal is pitted slightly from being exposed to the weather. Oh, those shed dogs are running around. I might have to go check on them, and I better go check on Mrs. Shed Talk too. You know, but considering, once again, this thing's been outside in its life for all its life, and it's just 100 years old steel. You wouldn't think that it'd be in this good condition, but it is. And most of the parts on the steamroller are pretty good in this sort of condition. There are a few exceptions, of course, but that's the way it is. But anyway, I'm going to run our little ad again just before we wrap it up about the National Rally coming up. Can't sort of express sort of what's going to go on there. We're going to be doing, sooner or later, we're going to be doing an interview with the organisers to let you know what's going on, what's coming. It's going to be a big show, that's for sure. So I'll run that video, and then we might come back and we'll wrap it up.
Steaming under the Southern Cross is back and bigger than ever. Australia's largest display of working heritage machinery, steam engines, vintage tractors and much more. Fun for the whole family. Don't miss it. August 23 to 31 at Kingsthorpe Park on the Warrego Highway.
Righto, we're back. Thanks, Colonel. Appreciate it. So I think we'll leave it at that tonight, everyone. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you guys being here and giving me the support that you do. It's a little bit rough from time to time. I'm going to get better, and I need to put out a few more videos too, but life gets in the way. So thanks for being here. Really appreciate it. Look after each other. Get well soon if you're crook. If you need help, reach out and ask someone for help, and we'll catch you on the next one. See you next week. Bye for now. Whistle time.